What's up, guys? It's the middle of the year, so I figured might as well do a mid-year top 10, and I needed to get my bearings on all the figures that have come out this year because, frankly, just like every other year, it's more than ever before, and I've forgotten probably half the stuff that's already come out. So I'm going through all my figures, stuff I've reviewed, stuff that I haven't, to kind of come up with my favorite 10 figures of the year so far. So this is going to be my favorite. We're not talking like technically better than one figure. These are figures that I like in this particular order for whatever reason. So these have figures that I have reviewed, but there's a couple on here that I haven't, and that's not indicative of it being a good figure or not. It's usually just I didn't have time to review it. So I think there's one, maybe there's two on here that I did not get to reviewing, and the first one is one of those two, and it's a Marvel Legends figure, and it is the Deluxe MODOK. This thing, I just absolutely love it, and one of the reasons why I never actually got around to reviewing it is because it never left my desk. Like, it's always just been on my desk since the day that I got it. It's just been there, so that's probably a stupid reason. But when I don't take figures off my desk, it's generally, for me anyway, a really good indicator that I just like having it around. And this guy just has so much personality. You got the swappable face plates, he's got that crazy stand, and he's just a massive, massive figure. He is a little on the pricey side for a Marvel Legends figure, but I love this thing. I think it's fantastic, and for somebody who doesn't have the Build-A-Figure, the old Build-A-Figure like myself, it was the perfect opportunity to finally get him, and I think they absolutely just killed it. Number 9 is another Hasbro figure, and it's one that in my actual review I did kind of complain about how difficult it was to get this guy, and it turns out that didn't actually stay the thing for this figure, at least not as bad as we expected. So number 9 is classified Major Blood, and I mean, this guy is probably my favorite G.I. Joe figure right now. I think he's just a great figure. He has awesome accessories. He's got fantastic sculpt. He has a full weapons storage on the figure, which I harp about all the time, but I really like it. The head sculpt is just killer. The scar on his face, the 5 o'clock shadow, the whole deal. I mean, I think the head sculpt is the best one in the line as well. But everything about this figure is just Hasbro and the G.I. Joe team being on when it comes to making a figure. And of course, this guy was a Target exclusive, or is still a Target exclusive, and he was a super hard figure to find at first, but then he was opened up for quite a bit, so he became a lot easier to get than he was originally expected to be. He's still not the easiest, but it's not nearly as bad as any other Cobra Island figure has been so far. Number 8 is a Mezco figure, and I think the most recent Mezco figure. I'm not even sure anything else has come out since this guy, but it's another figure kind of like MODOK that I didn't get around to reviewing, but he also hasn't left my desk, and he hasn't been around that long. But I know that this guy just has everything when it comes to what makes a figure fun, and that would of course be the Mezco Hoods Vapor figure. I really like this thing. That's really what it comes down to. It's weird, it's really different. It's definitely not the figure that I was expecting it to be, for one reason or another. It's not something that I would normally get either, but of course Mezco hype is beyond real, so I had to check him out, and everything about this figure is just wild. He has so many accessories, multiple outfits, but it's really the personality, the head sculpts, the crazy expressions, his overall kind of small stature and really kind of slender nature just makes him a different kind of figure. And he also looks amazing when you do anything with him, and he looks fantastic. Of course, he also comes with the Mezco signature middle finger hands, which I can't get enough of. I think every figure needs them. And this guy in particular is like the best example of just how that can add a little bit of personality and change the entire theme of a figure. I think if you didn't get him, you will absolutely change your mind on this little guy when you see him in person. Number 7 is another Hasbro figure, and we're going to Star Wars. There's one of everything, basically, on this list, and that would be the Black Series Katan. She's one of my favorite figures, just in general, for Star Wars Black Series in a while. Head sculpt is on point, likeness is really good. Just the figure itself exudes kind of like a cool factor. I mean, she's an awesome character. She is fantastic in The Mandalorian, and this is a great example of her character in figure form. I really like everything about it, from the removable helmet to the paintwork to the armor sculpt, all of it. She's a fantastic looking figure, one that I was in particular really looking forward to this year, but for them to have delivered on her just made her that much more exciting for me. Number 6 takes us to Bandai Tamashii Nations, but this is maybe not the direction that you might expect. This is the Gundam Universe line, and this figure is is definitely a little bit different because this line is known for having some limitations when it comes to engineering and articulation, but this is one of my favorite things when it comes to the Gundam universe just in general, and that would be the Gundam Universe Sandrock figure. So this thing is one that I've been looking forward to since the line was announced. So, you know what, 2 years now at this point, and they delivered on this guy. He does have some of those articulation hang-ups, but he is a figure that I feel is one of the most complete when it comes to this line. There's always something missing when it comes to a Gundam Universe figure, but the Sandrock really doesn't have anything that's missing. He has the backpack, he has the shuttles, he has the shield. He looks fantastic. It's one of the best, if not the best figure in the line, and that's me just speaking objectively. Subjectively, I definitely think he's the best in the line, but this is definitely one that if you are a Gundam Wing fan, you are absolutely going to want to get your hands on. Number 5 takes us to an entire line of figures, and I have to throw them all in because there's no way I can only pick just one. Well, I could pick one, but you might as well just pick them all because it really makes no difference. And this is a set of figures, a line that had I gotten them right when they came out, because they technically came out at the tail end of 2020, had I gotten them in right on time, they would have been on my top list for last year. But they got delayed by the post office for like 2 weeks, so I didn't get them until right after the 1st of 2021. And that would be the Plunderlings. And I mean, if you saw any of my reviews of them, if you've seen any of my social media posts, you know that I am still playing with these guys. I really can't get enough of them. I think that the folks at the Lone Coconut team did just a fantastic job from start to finish, from the boxes to the figures to all the accessories to the price point to all the add-on packs. I mean, just every little figure has its own little personality, from small changes to make a rather similar figure across the board be different as you change things up with little bits of clothing or different kind of pants or all the head sculpts that they come with. They're just a lot of fun, and I definitely think they are one that everybody should take a look at. If you weren't aware of them, or if you somehow missed out, this is definitely something to try to get your hands on because they're amazingly fun figures, and they're just incredibly well done for figures in general, not just because they were a Kickstarter line. Number 4 is Mythic Legions, and we finally have a lot of Mythic Legions coming out this year, and we have the most long-awaited wave for a long time, I'm sure, right? With the Arethyr wave. But my favorite figure in this wave may not be the one that you would expect. I have a feeling a lot of people are going to say, well, it's Arethyr, he's the big bad guy, but for some reason he's not as evil looking to me as his second in command, which would be Belphegor. And I just can't get enough of this guy. Throw the red wing pack on him and even better. But the base figure alone, I just love him. I love the combination of parts. I love the color scheme. I love the new collar piece that they gave him. And I just love the head sculpt. That's really what it is. It's the head sculpt. It may or may not be too big depending on your point of view, but I love everything about it. I think it's tremendously well done. The sculpt is amazing. Paintwork is just phenomenal as usual. But everything about this guy just exudes this nasty, evil vibe that, I mean, he looks even more evil than the big bad guy to me. So he was definitely a bit of a surprise for me when I got him. I wasn't expecting to like him as much as I did, but he is easily the one to get in the line from my perspective. Number 3 takes us back to Bandai Tamashii Nations, and probably more in the direction that you would expect. We're going Figuarts, and this is Dragon Ball Z, and this is one that I have, well, just not just me, but everybody probably have been looking forward to for a very, very long time. Not just because it was announced, but because it was a hole in the line for a long time, and that would be First Form Frieza and the Frieza Pod. This figure was pretty much executed perfectly. I really have no complaints on him. He looks fantastic from the tip of his horns down to his feet. The colors, the construction, the articulation, all fantastic. He comes with great accessories, fantastic face sculpts. He's got the little, energy ball for his super attack. But we've also got the Frieza Pod alongside him to add an entirely different dimension to this figure. So you have basically every way to display him that he was shown in the anime or the manga, where he's in the pod or he's out of the pod. You can do whatever you want with him, and you have every option right there in one box. Not to mention the fact that the pod is incredibly well done. The way they engineered getting him inside of it is really nice, very easy. You do have to take him apart, but it's a non-issue. You just pop him, put him in, and he's in, and he looks fantastic in or out of it. Number 2 is a set of figures, and I can't really break this up. It's one of those things that I could, but why? It all goes together. So number 2 is the NECA Toys Turtles in Disguise 4-pack. Of course, it's more Turtles, and I was really curious what I was going to pick for this. I knew there was going to be a Turtles item on the list. Was it going to be this, or was it going to be one of the deluxe figures? Muckman was really close to being on the list, but ultimately it has to be this. They are the best versions of the cartoon Turtles that NECA has done by far. I do think that they, in very, very many ways, rival the Figuarts in terms of likeness, in terms of accessories, in terms of articulation, because there is a lot of new engineering in these figures as well. Your mileage may vary on which one you still prefer, but these are definitely the closest thing NECA has ever given us to import level Turtles in comparison to those Figuarts. But I think the box itself is tremendously well done. Tons of accessories. I mean, the box itself is great, but tons of cool accessories, the jackets, the masks, all of the extra stuff that they get. But then it's all about those head sculpts, the interchangeable faces, and just the closer cartoon look. These are the figures that, you know, we all kind of thought we had for a long time with the first wave, which is very, very early animation. But this is the one that I think most people truly associate with a cartoon accurate Turtles. These are a lot more in line with what they looked like for a longer span of time, and I think NECA really, really crushed it. And then last but not least, this is, if you pay any attention to anything I do, you probably know what this is going to be. And it's a different kind of figure. It's a larger figure. It's a more expensive figure, but I love it. I think it's easily one of the best toys that I have gotten in a long time, not just this year. It could appear on last year's list, most likely. But my number one right now, and there's a very good chance that it will not be unseated, is the Bandai Tamashii Nations Dynaction Evangelion Unit 1. This thing is everything to me. It's something that I love. I love Evangelion. I love the design for the actual Evangelions themselves, but this toy is just so much fun, and I can't stress that enough. It's so much fun. The posability on it is absolutely ridiculous. You can put it into the craziest positions, and the one that I always go back to is the one where it's crunched down, sitting on its toes. You can balance it so well for such a massive 18-inch figure that it can balance itself on its toes and look menacing and huge and hulking, and it's just an awesome figure. It comes with a solid array of accessories, but it's all about the figure itself, from how it moves to how it looks. It literally is a fantastic recreation of this design in plastic and, well, die cast as well. But it was such a surprise. I was really, really expecting this thing to just be amazing, but honestly, it crushed my expectations. When I got it out of the box and started messing around with it for the first time, I sort of just fell in love with the damn thing. It's so much fun, and I cannot wait for them to tackle more stuff. There's going to be an Ultraman, there was a Unit 2 shown, and I just want to see more stuff. They're really big, they take up a lot of space, they're really expensive, but I can't stress enough how well made this figure is. So that's my list for now. We'll see what happens in the next 6 months. Obviously, there's going to be an absolute ton of figures coming. Tastes can change. There's a good chance that some of this stuff is going to fall off the list. But I know we've had a pretty crazy first 6 months of 2021 so far. There's been a lot of awesome stuff. This is just the stuff that I love the most. And there's a really good chance I forgot something. And I'm pretty sure I didn't, but there's a really good chance that I did. So let me guys know what you think of my list. What do you think about my number one in particular? And then let me know what some of your favorites are. I'd love to know what you are interested in compared to what I am, and what I maybe missed out on. I'll catch you next time.